Have you ever just stopped and wondered, what makes you, you? Well, today we're diving headfirst into the amazing science that tries to answer that exact question. We're talking about psychology. It's literally the science of us. No, I mean, really think about it for a second. Why do you get that fluttery butterflies in your stomach feeling before a big presentation? Or why do you just instantly click with some people while others, not so much? Turns out, these aren't just random quirks. They're the very questions that get psychologists out of bed in the morning. But it's not all light stuff either. Psychology also goes deep into the heavy questions. We've all seen it in history or even on the news, right? People following orders that just feel morally wrong. Psychology doesn't just sit around and ponder this stuff. No way. It actually sets up experiments to find out why this happens. And trust me, the answers can be seriously surprising.
So, let's get right to the heart of it. If we're going to understand the why behind what we do, we first have to be clear on what exactly psychology is.
Now, the most important word you see here is that very first one, scientific. This is absolutely crucial, because psychology isn't just about making good guesses or having deep thoughts. It is a rigorous science. It uses real, observable, measurable data to understand everything, from our deepest, most private thoughts to our most public actions.
So, if it's a science, how did it get there? It wasn't always seen this way. Let's do a quick jump back in time to see how this field was born.
You can actually pinpoint the moment psychology really split off from philosophy and became its own thing. It was around 1879. A guy named Wilhelm Wundt opened the very first lab dedicated purely to experimental psychology. And that changed everything. Suddenly, the mind wasn't just an idea to debate, it was something you could actually measure and test. And from that point on, the field just exploded with all these different schools of thought, each with its own unique way of looking at us.
Okay, so once you decide you're going to be a science, you can't just rely on gut feelings, right? You need tools. You need a proper toolkit for digging into something as complex and messy as the human mind. And this is the basic toolkit they came up with. If you want to know if one thing actually causes another, you have to run an experiment. But if you just want to see how people act when they don't know they're being watched, you do an observational study. Need to know what thousands of people think about something? That's what surveys are for. And for those really rare, unique cases, a case study lets you do a super deep dive. Every tool is built for a different job. But here's where it gets really cool. Even with the exact same toolkit, not all psychologists are looking for the same thing. The field is packed with different perspectives. Think of them like different lenses for viewing human behavior.
Let's just compare two of the big ones. First, you've got behaviorism. These folks, like B.F. Skinner, said, forget what's inside the head. We can't see it. Let's only study what we can see, behavior. So for them, if you study for a test and get an A, the reward, that A, is what makes you study next time. Simple. They're not interested in your thought process. But then, cognitive psychology comes along and says, whoa, hold on. The thought process is the most interesting part. They want to crack open that black box of the mind and see how you studied, what memory tricks you used. Neither lens is right or wrong. They're just focusing on different pieces of the same giant puzzle.
Okay, that's enough theory. Let's get to the fun stuff, how all this actually shows up in our everyday lives. Because this is where psychology stops being academic and starts being a powerful tool you can use to understand your world. You know that person. We all know someone who is just incredibly confident about something, but, well, they're not very good at it. It turns out there's a name for that. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's this fascinating cognitive bias where people who have a low ability at something tend to dramatically overestimate how good they are. Basically, the knowledge you need to be good is the same knowledge you need to recognize you're not good.
And this chart just says it all. Look at that massive gap between their perceived skill, which is way up high, and their actual skill, which is way down low. It's this incredible paradox. The very incompetence that makes them bad at something also makes them blind to how bad they are. They literally can't see their own blind spots.
So, the Dunning-Kruger effect is all happening inside our own heads. It's an internal thing. But what happens when the pressure doesn't come from inside us, but from the outside, from other people? Well, the forces of our social world can be unbelievably powerful, pushing us in directions we never think we'd go.
And this leads us to one of the most famous and frankly disturbing experiments in psychology's history. Stanley Milgram was haunted by the question of how people could be led to do terrible things. So he set up this experiment where ordinary folks were told to deliver what they believed were real, painful electric shocks to another person every time they got a question wrong. The shocks weren't real, of course, but the participants had no idea. So what do you think? What percentage of regular people went all the way to the maximum, life-threatening shock level just because a guy in a lab coat told them to?
65%. Let that sink in for a moment. Nearly 2 out of every 3 people, ordinary people, were willing to deliver the highest shock possible. The experiment was absolutely chilling because it showed that it's not some special kind of evil person who does terrible things. Under the right pressure, from the right authority figure, most of us are capable of acting against our own conscience.
So when you start putting these pieces together, when you understand your own internal biases and the power of external social pressure, you can't help but start seeing the world and even yourself through a completely new lens. And that's the real power of psychology.
And look, these examples are just scratching the surface. Psychology is a massive field. It's biological. It looks at how the wiring and chemicals in our brain influence us. It's cognitive, exploring how we think and remember. It's social, analyzing how we behave in groups. And it's developmental, tracking how we grow and change from the moment we're born until old age. It's the whole shebang, and it is all connected.
At the end of the day, psychology is so much more than a science class. It's a toolkit for self-understanding. It's like the instruction manual for the most complex, incredible machine in the known universe, the human mind. So, with this new knowledge in hand, the only question left is, what part of your own mind are you going to explore first?